steps. You know, the agency will need to issue a proposed plan. In that proposed plan, you know, the final EIS is there. We'll prepare the document. Once we issue the final EIS, there's a 30-day protest period, and then a 60-day governor consistency review. And those usually overlap. The 60-day and the 30-day runs concurrently. And then record of decisions would be signed.
Several times in the EIS, it talks about if a certain situation happened, it would be for the life of the management plan. What is the life of this management plan that will be done?
Typically, we plan for 20 years, but a management plan usually doesn't have, here's an expiration date, but typically they're about 20 years.
So before any amendment will take place, they come back towards the one in the body, I assume that it's still intact.
If the committee's still intact, then yeah, we'd still be back to the committee as well in future plan.
Not just future plans, but amendments to the plan.
Correct. Amendments to, and even the Monument Advisory Committee will have the opportunity to visit on implementing the land use plan, or the monument management plan. So any implementation levels we make, we can come and have future meetings and talk about implementation. So say this is signed, you know, several months from now, we hold another meeting and go, okay, now we're implementing it. We can get into the discussions like Bruce, how do we get the education out and the word out to everybody and get some feedback from the committee. So we have about 15 minutes roughly before the public comment period begins. We just want to reiterate, members of the public, if they want to speak, go sign up. We have 30 minutes allowed.
We have about a dozen people signed up right now, so that's about a minute and a half for everybody. We're good there.
Okay?
I want to make sure we do have a little bit of extra time. We covered some items that we want, but just in case, like I know Kelly, you said you've done some homework. I know everybody's been reading the plans and doing their homework. Is there anything else that we have not covered that you want to have up here for discussion, that you want to think about tomorrow? I want to capture those now.
I think the original answer.
Oh,
All right, Lee, you go first, and then,
Cultural landscapes.
okay?
do you have something more specific what you mean by that? Or just,
That's part of the discussion.
okay, got it.
Wildlife. Ryan?
Wood cutting, wood gathering, and the state, and what's allowable.
Okay. Wood cutting, what's allowable, and Bruce?
In the charter, it talks about estimated annual operating costs. I'd kind of like to know what we're talking about. Is that something that this committee needs to help determine how that annual operating cost is going to be spent? I know it's not a big amount, $50,000, but or is that something that just stays within the agency's purview?
I'd have to refresh my memory
You
on
want me
the
to
charter.
tackle
So-
that one?
It's more
Or
of
Ed?
administrative, it's more administrative, and I think what we want to focus on right now is a plan, but tomorrow, when we get a chair, and if you all want to talk about how we're trying to project how many meetings per year, what the cost per meeting is, how we determine per diem. All the meetings for this MAC will probably be here, Landing, Bluff, somewhere in San Juan County, I would think. And so that's how we sort of project how many meetings are we going to have. There's a cost to putting the Federal Register notices out. There's a time frame for that. So we can kind of walk through some of that administrative stuff and let you all know that, so that you're aware of what it takes to run an advisory committee.
But that's just specific to the advisory committee, it's not to implement the plan out on the ground. Those costs aren't built into that.
No, those were estimated costs from previous RACs from the Utah Resource
Okay.
Advisory Council for what it costs to hold a meeting and to, you know, for how many a year, and that includes all the things that Ed suggested in addition to travel for some of the members, costs of the room, the facilities, all of those sorts of things.
The cost of the implementation will often be discussed in the business plans for the recreation management zone. So if we're going to develop Indian Creek and have certain campgrounds, we present that. It goes actually to the RAC normally to get approved, but it's public processing, and that's disclosed because it includes sometimes charging fees for camping or something like that.
And I would say, well, I'm happy to clarify and work with everyone to provide some more information about those. Since this isn't really a key part of what we're focusing on, this is also an administrative matter, and we can cover this outside of the meeting space. That's one that we can address, it's just an administrative thing.
I just one more, I guess it would be the law enforcement implementation of protecting the sacred sites, landscape.
And Jared, I know you had your hand.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the challenge of protection of the cultural resources and assets, education, and maintaining access.
Okay.
So,
Land protection and maintaining access.
Maintaining access.
Just to follow up on Gary's question, so if you have a budget that, say, you want to build a parking lot at Firehouse Ruin or bathrooms at another place, this board would have no say in those priorities of the budget?
Your input on would be at this higher level of, yes, that's a good idea. Maybe this group would say, oh, we don't think that's a very good place, even though it's been identified as one of the public places for visitation. So, but the specifics for prioritization of are we going to spend our dollars this year on Firehouse, next year at, Indian Creek or somewhere, I don't believe this board influences that.
The staffing and funding are kind of outside your purview, but weighing in on what are the important projects that need to be done and how should they be done. I think, we can tell you what our budget is. It's just not something that any advisory committee that I've ever worked with has been authorized to say, well, we think you need to spend $10,000 on this project and you need to hire these 3 people for this project. But your input into what you think it's going to take us to manage an area based on your experience, we're going to put just the issue of Shea Canyon, and I know that's come up before when I was out there, somebody that you know well. Do we put a parking lot area there? If there's going to be this, and if so, where would we put it? And if we don't put it there, what are the complications going to be of not putting it there? Do we start to try to restrict any kind, do we put limitations on who can go there because we know we don't have a place to park? Or, those kind of things are things that you all are, we're going to want your input on. But Gary's budget for Monticello and his staffing plan and those things, those are outside the things. If that makes sense, I mean.
Yeah, the sense of urgency, I think you would certainly want. If you have, as a collective group, if you have a sense that, oh, you guys are trying to fix the wrong problem, this is where the problem really is, that you should weigh into. But as far as once we get it outlined, the yearly daily budget.
Well, I think we all recognize the need for getting information out and having people be educated on how they can be respectful around some of the most distant sites. I just remember when Secretary Zinke was here and he went down the house on fire, some of his comments were, gee, we need some additional parking, and where's the restrooms? And where's the signage for the trails, and where's the kiosk, and those kind of things. So, you know, you've identified in some of these documents, some of the most visited places, Dollhouse, I guess that's on the forest and stuff, but I think all of us are concerned about, you put a spotlight called a monument on any of these areas, that you're going to get an increase in visitation, and how quick can we get information in the hands of people about how they should act, you know, when they go visit one of these sites. So,
I think as agencies, I can't go to a congressman and say, I need this amount of money, and this many people, but if you know people, private citizens who want to say, you know, what Slinky said is true.
it's like Gordon's here.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a really good point, and I can share more about this tomorrow, but you know, the state of Utah has actually put together like a, you know, itinerary for here's the things you want to see if you've got 2 or 3 days to go see them, right? And they leave off there deliberately some of the sites that are more sensitive, and I think that's worth having a discussion about how the Yellowstone Forest Service can facilitate that, and maybe even, I've had somebody suggest to me, maybe you even purchase the Google search items, and you can do that, you can purchase so that you have say over where when someone types in a specific, you know, antiquity or a specific site, it's gonna take them to a specific site that will guide them maybe to something else, right? If that particular search term is gonna take them to a map of a sensitive location. Anyway, there's a lot of ideas out there, but I think it's worth talking about how you use limited resources. Because the creation of the monument doesn't suddenly create a new pot of money that you have to harden all these sites, right? That'd be great if it did.
Procedural, can we add to this tomorrow at some point?
Yes.
So, add the educational component?
No, he's asking if we can add in the morning if he has.
Oh, of course, yeah. Take this home, think about the discussion. You are more than welcome to add in the morning. What we'll do is spend a little time reviewing and maybe prioritizing, and looking at how much time we have, and then figuring out, you know, how much time we have per topic, so we can kind of keep moving through. So we'll be able to take a closer look at that. I just wanted to make sure we had captured the big ticket items, and obviously we can, as the discussion morphs, tomorrow morning we can add or take away. This is, after all, your meeting, your discussion, so I really want this to be coming from you, not necessarily driven by the agencies. Yeah, I think that would actually work. Hang on, checking. I think we've got enough time for a 4-minute break, and then we're going to open this up to the public to provide some feedback.